Hello, welcome once again to Blackpool for more action from the Foster's World 8-Ball Pool Championship. It's coming from the Imperial Hotel on the seafront here in Blackpool, and all the world's best players are here, chasing the prestige and the title. Now we're down to the quarter-final stages of the men's event. 3 matches have gone, 1 still to go. Let's just take a check on what's happened so far. And there's confirmation that Gareth Potts, the defending champion, through in style to the semis, beating Aaron Roberts very comfortably. Phil Harrison had several good chances early on, but he didn't take them, and it's Adam Davis through to the semis already. And then the 2-times champion Jason Twist, involved in a really dramatic match against Carl Morris. He shaded it 9-8, so Jason through as well. But who will he meet, Lee Kendall or Gareth Hibbott? With me here in the studio, Keith Brewer. Keith, what are your thoughts about... we've seen some drama already. Are we in for more in this match?
Wouldn't be surprised. We always get a couple of these matches that are good pairings, and this one should be very interesting. Obviously, we've got 2 excellent players here. Lee's got more experience than Gareth, but Gareth's come up well over the last year.
Yes, the buzz seems to be that Lee would be favourite, but you're not quite so sure.
No, not at all. I think Gareth's been one of the better players over the last maybe 18 months, 24 months, and it wouldn't surprise me if he gets past Lee here.
Both of them unseeded. Let's just take a check on the record of the 2 players, starting with Lee Kendall. That's the way he made it through from the 3rd round, where he beat John Wheeler, then Sonny Singh and John Bushnell in the last 16. As for Gareth, let's have a look at this. Gareth Hibbott, unseeded again, but the outstanding result there, really, beating Chris Melling 8-4 in the last 32, Keith.
Shock result, really. Chris was well up in that match as well. I think it was either 4-0 or 4-1. Some reason, Gareth managed to turn it round, and that takes some doing against the calibre of Chris Melling.
And bearing that performance in mind and 1 or 2 other things, where would your money be?
I can see this being a tight match. But, you know, you have to say, will Lee's experience just be the deciding factor?
We shall see.
So I'd just shade it with Lee, I think.
OK, well, as you can hear, terrific atmosphere here at Blackpool. Let's now go to the action and join our MC, Scott Gallagher.
So, with the semi-final lineup nearly complete, there is just 1 more place left to fight for. Battling out for that last semi-final place. Give it up for Lee Kendall and Gareth Hibbott.
Our last quarter-final then, a race to 17. Lee Kendall on the left, Gareth Hibbott on the right. And the all-important lag to initiate the breaking sequence here. A lot of tension in this match, a massive edge and experience, certainly in front of the TV cameras, to the left-hander, Lee Kendall. No stranger to the business end of the World Championships, and he's going to win the lag. So the opening break falls to the Fox from Stoke-on-Trent. Very happy to be joined in the comm box. Best seat in the house. And the man, really the main man, the expert. He is the head of the English Referees Association, Sean Baker. And Sean, do you concur with Keith Brewer and just give an edge, slight edge, due to the experience to Lee Kendall?
Yes, I do, Jim. Thank you very much. I just think Lee's got that experience. Gareth, excellent player. Probably shaded Lee over the last couple of years when they have met, but I think the experience of the world stage and being in front of the TV cameras will just shade it for Lee Kendall here.
But he has gone through somewhat of a dry spell the last 2-3 seasons. Lee has done very little in a positive vein, but it only takes 1 big event, and none bigger than the Foster's World 8-Ball Pool Championships. Quarterfinal action, frame number 1. Beautiful speed on the break, and an inviting split of reds and yellows.
Yeah, very nice control break there from Lee. He's part of that cue ball in the middle of the table. Just been slightly unlucky there that another red just came in front. Bottom left there, as we see, closest to us is 2 reds. One has just come in front and blocked the other just at the last minute.
But they do offer what looks to be a plant here, Sean, and this would open frame number 1 up very nicely for Kendall. Jason Twist obviously waiting in the wings, the most interested spectator. He will oppose the winner here in the bottom half of the semi-final draw.
An excellent shot there from Lee Kendall straight away. As you say, it did offer that plant, but it's not easy. And there's so much distance between the 2 object balls.
Still that one awkward red, though, the one on the left-hand side of the table. He's going to have to negotiate the cue ball into an area to be able to attack that red and possibly leave it till the end.
30 seconds.
Still, you have to settle in. The opening frame on television, you know, nerves a factor. Well, Lee is getting after this difficult red right away. Obviously, the angle was there. Might as well get after the tough ones. Get them out of the way. Try and make your work a little easier.
Well, the thing is, Jim, he wants to be finishing up the table for his shot on the black, because that black, best pocket for that, is looking certainly like the bottom left-hand corner pocket. So he wants to go back up the table now, clear those last 3 reds after this one, and say, and that will afford him good position then for the 8 ball. Just a little bit too much in that, maybe. No, he should be okay there, Jim.
Now Lee will be well aware of what Gareth Hibbott has done in this event when he took out Chris Melling 8-4. Just a massive win for Gareth.
Yeah, I was chatting to Gareth in the practice room just before the game, and he was telling me, don't worry if I get down early, because I was 4-1 down to Chris Melling, and he's beaten Chris Melling 8-4. He's taken 7 frames off him on the spin, and to do that, I think Keith alluded to it in the studio, that's an incredible performance.
And I had a word with Chris Melling about that. He said he never got another chance. He said he completely got shut out by Gareth.
Yeah, and then say his last 16 match against a young Greek player, Ali Ozturk. Again, he was 4-2 down in that and won 8-4. Again, 6 on the spin.
But Lee will be well aware that when a man's in his chair, he's helpless. And Kendall with an ideal break in this opening frame. He wants to take it home. And that could be just short. This is very close. He had a little room to work there, but this is extremely tight. Just can't afford to miss this. And he is digging into the white. He's missed it. What a massive let-off.
Timeout.
Plenty of space to leave that cue ball to attack the 8.
Not touching. Time running. Yellow
And
balls
it has
in play.
gone awry for Kendall. And there's no prizes for guessing where Lee's going to be playing very shortly from. He's got so many options now, does Gareth Hibbott, and all of a sudden Lee Kendall is not in the favorites role in the opening frame.
And Gareth's just got to be a little bit careful here when he does play this shot, that he doesn't leave Lee a double across the table. Well, he's opted for the pot straight away, so he feels maybe that the finish is on.
Would send a message if he could clear up these remaining 6 yellows. It'd be very punishing, and he would burn that miss into Lee Kendall's memory banks, plant a few negative seeds.
Yeah, so I was speaking to Gareth before this match, and he said if I can get a couple of frames on the board early, obviously that will settle any nerves that he may have, and certainly, as you say, send a message to Lee Kendall.
Well, they're all there. This is just about embracing the pressure. No point in trying to block it out. Everyone and their dog know it's out there. So he's just got to try and live in the present and accept.
Just played a clever little shot there, using the yellow to bump the black out of the way and just clear the path to that pocket for these other 2 yellows.
Yeah, also notice that Lee Kendall just slumped down in his chair a bit after that one too. He's leaning back now. I don't think he feels like he's going to get another chance in this opening frame. Looking very settled. Has not put a foot wrong. Now he just wants to be assured of the proper angle on the last yellow to make that 8-ball as easy as possible. And he's left himself a little to do here.
I think he could look here, Jim. He could just try to drop this yellow into the bottom corner pocket dead weight. And if it doesn't go, well, he's looking to knock it into the middle by the look of it. He's obviously confident.
Into a blind pocket and a punishing blow. Mark this one down. Could have a turning point very early. Frame number 1. A miss from Lee Kendall rewards Gareth Hibbott with the opener. 1-0. Frame number 2. Hibbott already 1-0 in front. Looking for a little bit of an upset here. And nothing down, Sean, so this is going to bring Kendall back to the table with the chance to erase the memory of how he dropped that opener.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Gareth does break on this bigger table. Obviously, he will have been practicing before, trying to find somewhere to modify his break shot.
The World Championships always seem to bring the best out in Lee Kendall. Hails from Stoke-on-Trent, and in fact has recently gone into partnership in a business venture with the reigning world champion and a man still alive in this event, Gareth Potts. Wouldn't it be something if the two contested the final?
We certainly know where all the prize money would be going, Jim, anyway.
Straight back to the business. And he's chosen reds. And as they sit, no obvious problems here, Sean.
No, and the one thing is, one feature of Lee Kendall's game is he plots his way around the table very, very well. He's a very technical player, but a great thinker about the game. And I say he's plotting his way around. He's thinking 3 or 4 shots ahead. He's thinking exactly where he wants to leave that cue ball. Which balls am I going to take in which order? And I think if you ever hear Lee in commentary, it comes across very well. He's a great thinker about finishes.
Still a lot of work to do here, but the Reds are in the open. This is just about controlling that cue ball. I've always liked Lee's action too. He's got such a nice straight cueing action. He's obviously played a bit of snooker, and it wouldn't surprise me at a very good level in his younger years. He plays just about every game played on a pool table, does Lee Kendall, and all to a very high standard.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. It was a few years ago, but he did represent Europe in the Moscone Cup, the 9-ball event.
Well, he's really found the holy grail in terms of fundamentals. And as you've already noted, Sean, he's got a very sound head on his shoulders. That's the complete package.
Yeah, to be honest, if Lee plays at the top of his game, the only thing that can stop him winning, if you like, is that rub of the green, the run of the balls. If the run goes against, no player can win a match then, if the rub goes against him, the run of the balls.
And that's all anybody can really ask. If the controls are in your hand, you know you bring your A game to the table, it's going to be enough. That's all you ever ask. Just eyeing up where he wants to position that cue ball again. The last red will be down the left cushion. And he really just has to bump this in, float it in, and play the 8-ball to the right center. Anytime you don't have to move that cue ball around too much, you're making your life very easy. Much better performance, this one from Kendall. And it was an important one. 8-ball secured this time. It didn't get away. 1-1 with Gareth Hibbott. Frame number 7. Each one now taking on added significance, a 3-3 score.
I'm not sure there.
Red ball
He'll be
potted.
happy with the way the balls are broken. He might just question the setup a little bit, because you see the black and the 2 balls below it never moved. Absolutely where they were. So it could be. I just wonder whether the 2 balls that were either side of the black weren't quite touching the black. Sometimes you find then the balls split away from the black and actually leave the black and those 2 balls together.
And many times we see the players come up and just check the rack to make sure everything's touching. Obviously, that's one of the points they're looking for.
Yeah. So, spoken to 1 or 2 of the players about that, you know, when we first started refereeing TV matches. You see there, balls didn't really split away properly. And you talk to some of the players, and some have a different preference. Some say, well, I just want the first 3 balls all touching each other. Some want the 2 balls that are either side of the black, make sure they're tight on the black, and I'm not over bothered about the other 2. You know, some say, oh, top 6. So it's different preferences of different players, you know. I mean, I've seen players practice breaking, and they've just literally thrown the balls in the triangle. They've not even made sure they're all touching.
Well, Lee Kendall has to get on with it now. Can't possibly legislate for how the balls will split, so he's made his choice.
30 seconds.
And could he possibly be looking? No, he had a quick look at a 3-ball plant. They're just too difficult.
Foul.
He's actually played a tactical foul there. He feels
Red
that
ball's in play.
that's a better option for him.
An anxious look, too. I'm not sure he got that yellow in deep enough to take that pocket away,
No,
Sean.
I don't think he has. And if Gareth can maybe get through to the one to the left-hand middle.
Well, Lee knows that Gareth has that 1 red just below the black, that a shot will have to be wasted in trying to develop it, or at least that's what Lee is hoping.
30 seconds.
But I know that he also wanted to take this corner pocket away. And obviously he didn't. Look out!
Lost the cue up.
Foul.
What he's actually tried to do there, he's tried to develop those 3 balls in that same shot, and he's been a little bit unlucky there.
Yes, I agree. That was a brave effort from Gareth. Slicing this red in and trying to develop the awkward one in 1 go.
So desperate and unlucky there. I think he's just shaved the black and just missed it, and the yellow that was coming up.
Well, Lee looking at the plant, and he will open up the awkward yellow in playing it. So his shot now gone, but the yellow's wide open for him. And that really was the game plan. Kendall was 2-1 in front before Hibbott came back and swiped the next 2 to put Kendall 1 adrift. And now in frame number 7, Lee has a great chance
30
to
seconds.
once again go that odd frame in front. It's all on him here.
I just wonder whether the way he's played that shot is to come round and take that yellows, the top one of the 3 on the left-hand side. Because obviously it doesn't go into the left-hand middle pocket, and he'd have to be leaving it until he'd cleared the path into the bottom left pocket. So he's elected to take that now and get that out of the way.
Good confident shot there from Kendall. In his mind, he knows exactly what he has to do here. This is just about just keeping yourself composed and just taking that little bit of time to gather your concentration.
Yeah, and we noticed at the beginning of this frame, Gareth was out of his seat very early. Oh, in the previous frame, Gareth was actually out of his seat very early, so I think he was trying to maybe force the pace of the match maybe a little bit. He was playing a little bit quicker. But Lee's now just slowed that back down to his pace, so leaving Gareth parked in his chair for that little bit longer while he takes this finish out. Just giving him time to dwell on that mistake.
An 8-ball pool, one of those unique individual sports as Gareth looks on. There's no real physical release in this sport, Sean. I mean, it's not a team sport. You've got no one to blame but yourself, but you know, all that pent-up emotion and pressure that is inside, and it can build, and there's really no way to release that. Not like in tennis, you know, where you're running around the court, or in golf, you've got a long time between shots. Here, very little time. You really have to keep yourself composed and keep everything together in a very small arena. And until you've been out there and lived it under these camera lights, you can't possibly understand and appreciate how tough it is.
If there's one man who's got all that experience, it's Lee Kendall, a former finalist in these championships.
Good shot from Lee there. That wasn't an easy 8. And once again, the Fox gets his tail in front. 4-3 over Gareth Hibbott.
10th frame. Gareth Hibbott to break.
And frame number
Trailing
10.
by 6 frames to 3.
The race to 9. Lee Kendall 2/3 of the way there. 6-3 over Hibbott.
We see there a lot better split on that break. No friends at the table for Gareth Hibbott.
And does his body language
Open table.
say anything there? Not half.
I think it spoke volumes there, Jim. He just realises this match is just starting to slip away from him. He trails by 3 in this race to 9, best of 17 quarter-final in this year's Foster's World 8-Ball Pool Championships. And you can see that semi-final berth disappearing into the horizon.
He certainly doesn't look too happy right now, but he's got to stay focused. He must maintain that positive outlook. Still a ways to go in this quarterfinal.
Red ball's in play.
The difficult red for Lee. Here's the bottom right as we look. But certainly one good developing shot. We've seen some great clearances already from Kendall in this match and in past world title events.
Yellow ball's
I
in
think he
play.
was too bothered whether that dropped or not. Obviously, if it had disappeared, he'd have been happy because he's still on the clearance, but he's just taking control of that pocket with those 2 yellows there, close to that bottom left corner pocket as we look.
Anxiety won't have set in for Gareth just yet. He was well behind Chris Melling, number 2 seed, in a match that he went on to win. So it's proven he can beat a world-class player, well, being well behind, but that wasn't in front of the TV cameras.
I just wonder, he's just weighing this up, whether he's looking at playing a tactical foul to take control of that pocket, but I don't really see any great value in that. The way the balls are lying, because Lee would have an easy red into the other corner pocket. Oh, he's actually tried to double the yellow over that corner pocket I was just talking about, but
Short of pace. He needed to get it right over the corner.
yeah. And the thing about that one ball that Lee does have, the top end of the table, as we say, bottom right, as we talked about earlier, it's near the yellow. There's a couple of reds in that half of the table that he could look at possibly developing. That red and yellow, you know, when he pots one of those 2, gets the right angle, he can swing round off the boat rail maybe, disturb them. And if he was to leave that ball that he's queuing right by now there, that would be an insurance ball.
I think he's dropped nicely onto the difficult red. You can just see enough of this to try and slice it into the bottom right corner. And every chance now to try and take the finish out. He's just gathering himself. He's going at this red.
Oh, he's gone for the double and he's got it. What a great shot there from Lee Kendall. Fantastic effort, as you say. He's just regrouped himself a little bit before he's played that shot. That was a massive shot, potentially in the outcome of this frame and the match.
He was in attack mode, Kendall. It was just a matter of how. And now very clear. And with each red that disappears, so too with them go Gareth Hibbott's chances in this match. Kendall looking very strong, solid as a rock. I mean, he's won the head games.
Yeah, it's certainly looking like an accomplished performance here from the England captain against his teammate.
And taking no prisoners. Does nothing in haste. To the center pocket for a 7-3 advantage. The snowball keeps rolling down the hill, and it's building in momentum. Lee Kendall now 7-3 in front of Gareth Hibbott. Frame number 12. He needs another good one.
Look at the cue ball. He's just stayed on the table.
Open table.
Nothing down. So Kendall out of his seat with an open table.
Yeah, that previous frame, massive in the context of this match. I think 8-3 down. In the writing would have been clearly on the wall. Gareth Hibbott, as you say, he'd have been off back down the coast to Southport. But he's not quite ready to leave yet. Fantastic effort there from Lee Kendall.
Yes, into a blind pocket. We call it a blind pocket when your line of sight is looking away from the intended target, and those shots you play from memory. And does Kendall look eager now to get at these reds? I think he felt like he let one slip away in the last. Gave Hibbott a chance.
30 seconds.
Yeah, and the first chance for a couple of frames. All these balls are out in the open. You know, there's been a couple of tactical exchanges, the last 2-3 frames, and now this gives Lee Kendall a chance to free his arm again and take out a finish that will put him just one place away, well, one frame away rather, from the place in the semi-finals.
Just settling himself in his mind. He wants to be absolutely certain of the order to remove these reds. Shot selection key, especially when everything's in the open like this.
Well, I think he's just taking the opportunity to move that yellow away from the black. As the cue ball stuck on the black.
I think he's all right, Sean. He had a quick look right down that line, and I didn't detect any sort of shaking of the head from Kendall, so I think he can get through to this red. And as you noted, freeing that 8 ball will put him in good stead for the future.
30 seconds.
Still watching his eyes darting around the table, just looking at the different options with how to attack these last 3.
Seconds.
Another nice shot there from Lee Kendall. Just use that yellow as a little bumped stop.
Yes, now he'll play the red into the same pocket and just keep the cue ball in line for the red to the bottom corner, because all he'll have to do is stop the white dead to leave the 8 at his mercy.
Great shot there of that arrow-like cueing action of Lee Kendall.
Good performance, this one from Kendall. Oh! He just moved his head. That was the key ball.
And he can't believe he's missed that. You see his reaction there in the chair. He just cannot believe that he's missed that ball. Just that little bit of pressure there. May have just had that slight thought of, this is my chance.
Well, that's an understatement, Sean. I think the pressure had mounted and Kendall obviously succumbed to it.
30 seconds.
Hibbott has to feel like the time has arrived. What a chance he's been given here.
He's taking the option there because he didn't have an easy finish. Just try and put Lee in a bit of trouble. Maybe extract the foul, but I doubt it, to be honest. It's a fairly easy escape here for Lee Kendall. One cushion escape. You see exactly where he was aiming to play there. He's pointing with his cue. It just depends how he leaves the table after this shot.
Try to play this with a bit of bottom, too. Try and swing that cue ball into the red. Not bad. At least it keeps the heat on Hibbott. I think forces Gareth into possibly one more containing shot, trying to extract the mistake. Well, he could go for game right here.
I'm going to say, I'm not sure now, Jim, because where that red is, he can leave the cue ball. The ball that's by the top middle pocket as we look there, the yellow, it's just to the right of it, that could be almost his last ball. So he could just be looking at maybe just dropping that dead weight in, leave the cue ball where that yellow is for the black. And he'd not be giving Lee Kendall a chance. Well, he might be forced to take this now.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's on it now. I mean, it's a risky option going to the other yellow, so this one he'll just be floating this in. Nicely struck. And what a turnaround here. We looked assured for Kendall to arrive to only wanting just the one frame. And all of a sudden, what a difference from 8-4 to 7-5.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the chances that Lee's missed in this game, could have quite easily been sat in the bar now having a well-earned coffee or something a little bit stronger, Jim.
very eager to accept this Christmas come early gift. And Gareth Hibbott pulls another one back. And there is definitely cause for concern in the Lee Kendall camp. 7-5 to Kendall, but Hibbott back on song. The Lee Kendall of 4 or 5 years ago.
13th frame.
Well, he'd be
Lee Kendall
celebrating
to
already.
break, leading by 7 frames to 5.
Frame number 13, 7-5. Kendall still in front. He's got to live in the present, dwell on the positives. The score still favors him.
Well, that was a far better split from Lee Kendall on the break.
Open table.
He's not made a ball.
You know, if he ends up losing this match, he's going to feel like he had his pocket picked. He will be furious with himself.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this here now, one good shot from Gareth Hibbott, and this could be another frame that has slipped away.
The ball's in play.
Right, Lee's not done a lot wrong because he played a nice break shot and just didn't get a ball, but it cuts that deficit then to just 1. You notice now Gareth's just picked up that pace again, Jim, a little bit. It's what we talked about earlier in this match.
But this is where champions are born, though, Sean. You know, being able to keep yourself together in the face of adversity. And right now, a lot of questions being asked of Kendall. And in the same vein, Gareth Hibbott has found a new life. We can talk all day long about the misses from Kendall. Gareth Hibbott still has to get down and knock the balls in.
He's probably just looking at here and trying to take the yellow that's directly below the black next after this next shot. You see he's pointing with his cue where he wants to leave the cue ball. Take it into the middle.
30 seconds.
Move the one to the right of the black into the other middle pocket. And he'll still have one over the corner pocket to give him position for the black. Oh, he's opted to play out directly in.
An amazing turnaround here. I mean, what a transformation in both players.
Well, now, he's not quite in ideal position here at all, Jim.
No, he may have to try and take that cue ball if he can avoid contacting the 8 and just pull it to the left-hand side of the 8, or will he use the 8 for position? Well, the crowd like it. And why not? Now that cue ball just feathered the 8. Didn't intend that. This is a much trickier 8 than Gareth would have liked. Now he's basically right in the middle. So into the corner pocket for 7-6. And it pulls just 7-6. Hibbott has taken the last 3 frames back in touch with Lee Kendall.
So, welcome back to Blackpool, where this 4th men's quarter-final is really living up to expectations. It's touch and go all the way. Keith Brewer, you're enjoying the action with me here. It's a good quality match, this, but in fact Lee could have had a good, strong early lead.
Well, I think Lee was very unlucky in the first frame to snooker himself slightly on the black. He more or less played the shot right. I mean, we're talking fractions at times. But yeah, good play from both players. As we expected, they've already shown good form in this event.
You fancied Lee just in a tight match. It looks like it's turning out that way.
Yeah, I think I've called it about right. But you know, Gareth's a good enough player to come back. He's done it against Chris Melling in this tournament.
Yes.
If you can do it against him, don't write him off just yet.
OK, there we are. Let's now go back to the action and see what happens.
14th frame. Gareth Hibbott to break.
Frame number 14, the cue ball passed over to Gareth Hibbott. He's won the last 3, and he is back in contention in the biggest match of his life.
No friends at the table there, though, for Gareth on the break. Great split again, but nothing down. Just had a quick look at the table, and it could be the yellows, and Gareth knows. He's looked at the table as well. He's just hoping and praying that he gets a chance to come back to this table in this frame. So looking at the split of the balls.
Yeah, nothing real easy apart from the one yellow, and that looks like a very thin cut. He's got the long yellow as well on offer. Steady cue needed here.
Yellow ball's in play.
Well, a chance here for Kendall. We've said that before. The only way that the pillow will be soft for Kendall tonight is if he escapes the victor in this one. Otherwise, the nightmares will be non-stop.
Another miss from Lee Kendall.
These are all born from all those misses earlier, and he has put himself under the cush here. And what you're seeing now is a sign of a seasoned player that is showing the sign of nerves.
I think with each ball that Gareth Hibbott pots, confidence grows. And he probably feels now he's got this match by the scruff of the neck.
If this was any other sport, Sean, I think Lee Kendall would be calling a timeout. He would like to go up to his room and resettle himself, but that is the cruel nature of big-time pool. There's no timeouts in this one. You've got to act on the fly. You've got to keep it together.
He's just overcooked that a little bit too much. Maybe just that adrenaline pumping through the veins. He's just given that a little bit too much there.
And one good positional shot on that last, and it would have been smooth sailing for Hibbott. Now, once again, he's going to have to come up with a big shot. This red does pass. Thin cut, position not guaranteed.
30 seconds.
Okay, you ready for my line, Mick? Because it's coming. The one I gave you last night.
Fantastic effort from Gareth Hibbott there. And I think he can get through to the bottom one of the two reds.
In this match, very clearly evident of the fact that, you know, pressure builds character. It also exposes it.
Yep.
Test of cueing here. Still a big shot to come for Gareth. If he gets it, he knows he'll have the 8 at his mercy, but he's got to get the red.
Beauty is here, Jimmy. He's almost doesn't have to do anything with the cue ball. Just concentrate solely on the pot here.
That was the big one. That was the one he had to have. That was the pressure ball.
Desperately unlucky. I mean, I think a bit less pace on it, that would have actually dropped in. As it was, it didn't find the bottom of the pocket.
But now, can Kendall put all those previous mistakes out of his mind? Half an hour ago, Lee would have got down and knocked these in like he was on the practice table, but he's had a few misses that have crept in, and all those seeds of negativity have been planted now, and Kendall has to try and live in the moment.
The one problem ball he's got here, Jim, is the one that's on the right-hand side of the table. And you say, on the practice table, he'd knock that in down the rail, no problem whatsoever. He's going to have to get back across the table for position into that bottom pocket. And that is where it's been going wrong for Lee Kendall.
Well, he's going to be able to place that cue ball wherever he wants, giving himself the ideal angle on that yellow over the center pocket to play onto that yellow opposite end.
And to be fair, he can leave it almost straight, and then it'd just be a little simple stun shot for the black into the opposite middle pocket.
Gut check time here for Kendall. He really does have to hold himself together. And as you'd expect, that has landed as awkward as it could.
Yeah, he's going to be leaning over that red, cueing awkwardly.
And being left-handed doesn't help him here. A right-hander would have a lot more comfortable bridge into that white. Being left-handed here works against Kendall. And you can see how awkward the cueing is.
Thirty seconds.
You just felt it. You just felt it, didn't you? The way things have been going for Lee, and that cue ball going over to that side cushion, if it would have stayed a couple inches away from that cushion, that shot would have been so much easier.
Well, it had just been a rolling, Jim. He'd just rolled it dead weight into the corner pocket.
We said it was going to be a tight one, and it is living up to advanced billing. 7 apiece here in Blackpool. Frame number 15, Lee Kendall has been pegged back from a 7-3 lead, now 7-7, and all the momentum in the chair of Gareth Hibbott.
Open table.
An open table, no friends following the break, and Lee Kendall is a man surrounded by confusion right now. Where has it all gone wrong? Well, we can hearken back to a number of misses. Kendall certainly the master of his own demise here.
Yeah, you'll look back at that 12th frame.
30 seconds.
And remember that ball down the rail. Like you say, we'd said at the time it could come back to haunt him.
And Hibbott,
Red ball's in play.
you've certainly got to give him his due. He is stuck to his guns, and he's answered the bell here. Number 15 of a possible 17, effectively a 2 out of 3. Hibbott was in front the early going, 3-2. That's the only lead he's enjoyed in the match. Kendall went on to take 5 in a row, only to have Gareth Hibbott respond with the next 4. And that's where we sit. 14 frames now confirmed here, and nothing to choose between these two, but certainly Gareth Hibbott has the initiative.
He's just overcooked that last shot though, Jim. He's out of position here. I think he was hoping to be on that red that's just below where he's queuing now.
Difficult match pockets.
Yellow balls in play.
Many balls that have looked like they would normally drop have been refused. A very unsympathetic table, this one. Lee Kendall surveying the situation. He's on yellows.
Just taking control of that corner pocket. He's got certainly one awkward yellow that he needs to develop before he can be looking at going for a finish.
Yeah, the one that Gareth Hibbott was just looking at nearest the bottom end of the table. That's difficult yellow, and Kendall will be looking to try and mature the situation.
If you're Lee Kendall now, Jim, do you try and draw Gareth Hibbott maybe into a tactical exchange here?
30 seconds.
You know, Lee won a couple of tactical battles earlier on in the match. I just wonder if that is the way that he's going to win this match now.
You know, personally, Sean, when I was playing professional snooker, I derived more satisfaction from winning a match when I knew I struggled than just going out and flying. Because when everything's going good, it's easy to look good. But when you know you've got to dig down and you've got to find that gear and provide the goods, when you know your A game isn't at the table, for me that was far more rewarding. But for Lee Kendall, you know, he's really had so many opportunities, and he's just got to try and put it all out of his mind. This match is still anybody's to win.
Certainly somebody with the experience of Lee Kendall. He'd be hoping that he can erase the memories of those misses and just concentrate for these next, hopefully only 2 frames for him to secure the victory.
You know, this is also a stage in a match where that support in the crowd from friends and family, you know, just trying to keep you focused, and you know, that goes a long way too. You know, they try and help you to maintain that positive outlook. Useful shot there from Hibbott. I don't know whether or not he secured that pocket away from Kendall. I think the yellow may still pass. A chance here maybe to develop that difficult one.
Well, he's got the angle now.
That's exactly right. Now
Lee's going to take the bull by the horns here, Jim.
I think so. I think that would be well advised for Kendall to try and wrest the initiative away from Hibbott. That yellow passes, and he's got the angle to develop the difficult one.
We see there Louise looking on. I know she'll be nervous, and she'll be just hoping that Lee can pull out these finishes that he needs to secure this victory.
Useful shot there from Kendall.
Nice little shot there from Lee Kendall, Jim.
Well, if he's on the one nearest the black, if it passes to the center pocket, this is an elementary finish. But lest we forget, could it be easy enough? We will just take a little extra time over each ball. I think impossible to forget the misses and just taking that little extra time.
And that's perfect. He didn't want to get any sort of run through on that and just leave himself hampered by the red. He's going to be queuing near to now.
The pride of the Potteries stays on course here in Blackpool. Finally, the winning post arrives in a frame. 8-7 to Lee Kendall. Frame number 16. 8-7 to Lee Kendall. A photo finish guaranteed.
Nothing down.
Open table.
Yeah, but a lot of work to do regardless of the choice of colors here. Hibbott, quick shake of the head. He'd love to have maintained control of the table, nailed the ball on the break, and at least had a say in proceedings.
To be honest, Lee's got a shot here. He could plant the red onto the yellow, because that's the only one awkward yellow on the table.
Because it's an open table?
It's an open table, perfectly legal, can play either red or yellow. So this plant and this shot would open this frame up completely for Lee Kendall, everything at his mercy.
Good spot, Sean. With it being an open table, perfectly legal. And now every chance for Kendall. Now as he landed, where he can't get through to anything. Quite possibly the only yellow that Lee can knock in is the one nearest the top cushion. Unless he elects to take the one to the bottom right corner. Difficult, but he is looking at that one nearest the cushion.
Seconds.
Well, there's second
Red
prize there
play
for Lee Kendall, because that's not got in, but at least he has covered that pocket. You seem to be having a word with the referee there about something. I think it might be to do with the timing, because while he was down on that shot, 30 seconds was called. Now, I wonder if he feels that the timekeeper's called late or early, because the timekeeper, even if a player's about to play a shot, will always call on 30 seconds, no matter what the player is doing. But Lee was definitely concerned about something there.
30 seconds.
With the angle on this red to the center pocket, it may afford the chance to drop on to the difficult one nearest the top left. Does he take the bull by the horns here, Sean?
I don't really think he's got a choice, Jim. I mean, if you look at where the yellows are, I don't think he's got a choice. I mean, if he does do what you're saying, the big shot then is to get on the other red. It's closer to the top left corner pocket as we look.
I think he's short of intended position. I think he'd like to have had the angle on this red to be able to have dropped onto that difficult one, and he may still be able to try and knock this in and cannon into that red, but that's leaving position to chance.
Yeah, it's not really something he'd want to be doing at this stage, but as I say, I don't think he's got too many options here.
And that's the benefit of Kendall
30 seconds.
guarding that pocket with the yellow earlier. Doesn't want this to go in.
And it's stopped short. Great shot there from Gareth. Just wonder though, look, all Lee can do here is just move that yellow out. You know, he's still got that top left-hand corner pocket secured. And he's just looking, what he's looking at there. He's pointing at the yellow and the black. So is he thinking that when he comes off, he'll develop those two, and he's just looking at the angle of where the black's going to go.
30 seconds.
I think he'd like to have bumped that black up towards the top pocket, but another frame where I think you're going to hear that 30-second call a few times. These players have to adhere to that 1-minute shot clock, 60 seconds with which to play a shot, and you get a 30-second warning. You're going to be hearing it a few more times in this frame.
Gareth seems to be taking the aggressive route here.
Well, his problem still remains in the form of that difficult red.
30 seconds.
Well, he's obviously got a plan here, Jim.
I'm wondering if he wants to try and knock this into the center pocket and take the cue ball into the other red.
30 seconds.
A very aggressive option.
It's certainly tight.
Or is he taking it down to the bottom left where the red is and try and develop the other one? Well, he was going center.
Well, he got the second part right, but not the first. Oh, he's choosing to take that one. Yeah, there again, the supporters just in the background. Come on, Lee, get it right. He needs to get it right.
That doesn't really give him much.
You see there.
30 seconds.
In an ideal world, he'd like to be able to knock one of these yellows in and screw that cue ball right into that 8 and develop that difficult yellow.
He's done it.
We got lucky. Offered his hand in apology there, acknowledging.
Cue ball went desperately close to the middle pocket there. And in off at this stage would have surely cost Lee Kendall this frame. As it is, maintains the advantage. He's at the table with the balls at his mercy.
As it is, Sean, he's got a chance to close the match out. A little bit of good roll, good fortune for Lee Kendall, but he's still got to take advantage of that run. And a nice angle to run around behind the 8, play the other yellow to the same pocket. He's just got to make sure that he plays this with enough pace to get above that 8 ball. He can't control the cue ball trying to thin cut this.
30 seconds.
Never going to be easy. And I think that really tells a story. It's just been so difficult the later going for Kendall. And fasten your seatbelts. We're about to go to one frame. to decide our last place in the semifinals.
Just a little bit short of pace there from Gareth Hibbott. You know, he could have been another foot further on and he's still been in a great position, but as it is, he's going to be leaning over. It's yellow that's going to be underneath him. He's not careful.
He's just got to roll this in. A natural path will bring that cue ball down towards the 8. But this is missable. Good effort from Hibbott. Our first 2 quarterfinals were clear-cut decisions. Our last 2 went right down to the last frame. 8-8. All to play for here.
17th frame. Lee Kendall to break.
Confirmation.
8 frames, all.
Kendall to break. 8-8. Does it get any better than this?
Well, he's made a yellow.
Yellow ball potted.
Again, the split of the balls. Just not been kind to Lee Kendall. Well, certainly he's going to have to take yellows here because he's potted a yellow. I don't think you can see an easy red for him.
This is going to be a tough pill to swallow no matter who ends up going away from the table, the loser.
Well, I think knowing both players reasonably well, Lee, it will affect Lee for quite some time. But I think Gareth Hibbott, well, I'll put it down to experience, and I'll be having a pint in the bar later and that'll be it, you know.
Yeah, and Lee has gone through such a dry spell that we noted earlier. This would be a huge result for him.
Well,
and
he opted to go reds.
Table.
He's missed, that means open table, and the table is now at Gareth Hibbott's mercy.
And look at the reds.
I don't really know why Lee Kendall did that, because the frame was tied up and the position was in. He could have taken yellows and just tried to work his way through the frame.
30 seconds.
And so the chance arrives for Hibbott.
Red ball's in play.
No man's land for him. Never been to the quarters of the World Championships before, and he's got a chance now. A semi-final berth is begging. Will Kendall get another chance?
I don't know whether he's heard you there, Jim, because he's shaking his head. He hopes he does get another chance. Because at times he's played some great pool in this match. At other times it's just let himself down at that crucial moment.
Well, there'll certainly be no tonic for Lee Kendall should he go on to lose this. When you get to the elite level, victories and defeats, sometimes not a lot to choose between them. But he's done the hard work, really.
I was just going to say, because he had left it very tight on that. I think it was not last ball. He's played the one before. He played a great shot, and now he just needs one good positional shot to get back down the table for these final 2 reds. He's got quite a bit of space to work with. He's opted to leave the long pot.
He's got the proper angle, though, Sean. He can hit this with authority, and when you're under pressure, that's something you're always looking for. You don't want to have to feather anything. You want to be able to thump it. And he can hit this with a little bit of pace. That'll make him feel good. And a nice angle here to be able to drop onto the 8.
Yeah, and this has been a fantastic performance here from Gareth Hibbott. Like you say, 6 or 7 frames ago, he was sat in his chair, the body language was all negative. He thought he was going out these championships. Now here's a fantastic opportunity to book his place in that semi-final.
One ball. And what a performance from Gareth Hibbott. He trails 7-3 at one stage, and he takes Lee Kendall out by the last frame, 9-8, and he will oppose Jason Twist in the semi-final.
So what a match, and what a last quarter-final in this Foster's event in Blackpool. Keith, you called it just about right. You said you fancied Lee to do it, but there was the big but about the quality of Gareth.
Yeah, and I think that shone through, but I think the reason that Lee's lost is in his own making. He did miss one or two very crucial balls, notably the straight red to get on the black for 8-4. I think if he had got that, that would have been game, set and match. But there's a turning point in matches, and that certainly was one.
Yeah, and Lee will look back and regret so many missed chances.
He certainly will. He won't sleep very well tonight.
Thank you very much for that, Keith. Let's just tidy up then all those results for you in the quarterfinals. There's confirmation of a truly dramatic final quarterfinal. Lee Kendall losing it 9-8 to Gareth Hibbott. Now that means that the semi-final lineup looks like this. Gareth Potts, the defending champion, against young Adam Davis. What a match that promises to be. And also the two-time champion Jason Twist now taking on Gareth Hibbott. So there we are. You can see those semis next up here on Sky Sports. In the meantime, for all of us here at Blackpool, it's goodbye.